Mihi Kura Futura, ladies, gentlemen, and gamers. Welcome back to another TikTok reaction episode. I hope 35, hopefully. Let me take a quick check in the background on that. A quick little rain check. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dark Dimension TikTok series. Yep, we're on episode 35. Cool. Where we talk about how shitty the world is, how fucked everything is, and how everyone believes it'll all be okay if they just hope and pray hard enough. And I'm here to deny that. And I'm also here to spread the awareness of my Twitch TV/Tecnics channel stream, where I do that every day. But anyway, we're back again. I have a shit ton of food with me, and I have a little bit of a spoiler just to start off the video here. So, spoiler and the usual intro. The spoiler is that I had an amazing day today. And the amazing day was filled with water. Now, you might be confused just hearing, why is it an amazing day if it's filled with water? We can have water every day. Oh no, you don't understand, dear viewer of mine. Dear contractor of my video. Today, the rains of God hath come down upon us. The heavens pissed on New York today. We got flooded. Manhattan flooded. Brooklyn almost like sunk. And the Bronx is pretty wet too. But weirdly enough, as bad as the Bronx is, it didn't get that bad. But there has been a whole slew, a whole sloth of videos that we have to get through that I sent myself, detailing why we have the best city on earth here, NYC, baby. But that's what happened to me today. I have no clue when we're going to get to that whole set of videos that I sent myself in the future. But one day we will get there. But that's another thing to look forward to. The other thing I always was mentioning was always the AI videos, the way back when, in like, I forget, maybe the teens when I was doing the series, maybe in the teen episodes. And then the other thing I was always referencing was the video that proved, or that showed, that even an exposing video can be false. And we've gone through those. I don't know when we're going to get through this third one of the NYC Great Arc flooding, but we will in the future, and we have to look out for it. Because God, what I went through today was fucking amazing. I had to be stuck in the flooding subway for 3 hours. Stranded, like I was on an island on the hit show Lost. Anyway, that's in the future. That's something to look forward to. So, we are here now. I have my food with me, and I got a lot of food today. I usually don't pig out, but today, because I had to deal with Great Noah's Ark flood in the Bronx and in Manhattan, I decided to ball out. So we have some Chinese food, some yogurt, some more Chinese food, 2 orders of Wendy's, an iced tea, and a hard cock. Well, that last one's a lie. My cock isn't hard. But we are here with a lot of food. We're here with a lot of time. I'm starting decently early, so we should be good to go. So now that it's been 3.5 minutes, I think we can wrap up the intro and get right into it. But before we get right into it, I'm just going to say we are very, very behind. Even though we are about a month and a day behind, I believe, at this point. I have sent myself so many videos now. I don't know what happened. I had a slump in the past where I was like, okay, I'll send myself a video, one video every couple days. And I was like, okay, I'm content with this. Recently, I've been sending myself like 10 videos a day. And I'm just like thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, we're going to be so behind. But that's the story of this whole series. So we're very behind. Hopefully we can catch up. And I barely remember what I ate for breakfast, which is a lie because I don't eat breakfast, but I barely remember what I do, and because these are so long ago, I'm basically counting it as I haven't seen them, because I don't remember them, only some of them. But anyway, we are starting off with Pearl Mania. I don't know why his name is like that, but it is. This is the man that we've seen before, the very angry man. So let's see what he's angry about today. Probably something with corruption or something with rich people, which I believe we should be angry about more and more, as my job fooks me, my corporate America job in Midtown Manhattan, where I'm a cog in the capitalistic machine, fucks me. I more and more think, fuck the rich people. And I think Promania agrees. But anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to be eating my food. Hopefully I won't chime in too many times. But the 5 minute intro is basically done, and hopefully we can actually see some content and not have me talking for the next 30, because I want to eat this food. But anyway, let's see what's going on.
I'm going to show you something, okay?
Oh,
just bear with me.
I'm bearing.
See this building right
bearing
across
arms,
the street?
My right.
This one?
Yes.
Right there. That building. That
yes.
green awning.
You know what I'm scared of? He's about to expose something, and I actually remember this video, even though I just said I don't remember shit. This video that he's doing, I'm honestly scared for people like him, because we know that our government does kind of what they want. The rich people definitely do what they want, and our government is made up of the rich people. This is where when you start, shaking the tree too much, you kind of don't shake the tree no more permanently, if you know what I mean. Now, it's nothing like what Putin does. Putin just does it like haphazardly, just, I don't care. The United States, they'll do it silently, but they'll still do it. So I'm very confused why Mr. Pearlmania over here is doing this. Granted, I just looked at the description where it says this is not a secret. They are very open about all of these services. And this, again, goes back to what I always say about America. It's so ironic. I was about to eat my Chinese food, but I just set it down. This is where I say always, because I'm going to repeat 96% of all the stuff I've said in other videos, in this video. Americans roll over, expose their buttock, and spread for further ramming. The government in America can literally tell us, okay guys, we're going to chop off your arms and legs in 5 years, get ready. And Americans will just sit on their couch saying, wow, that's crazy, let's make some TikToks about it. And then they'll do nothing. And then eventually their legs and arms will get chopped off. Like, it's so crazy how passive we are. Now, granted, my major, best major in the world, media, has convinced me that people have definitely been swayed into this passiveness. The remedy is for it, though, because it's pretty sinister how easily people are able to be influenced. And for this long, when we've gotten it down to a very minute science, it's very scary. And I can say this because I'm a learned individual from college. Mihi cura futura. Anyway, yeah, I'm just scared for Mr. Promo, but apparently this is public, so maybe I'm not too scared, because the government has realized they can almost do whatever they want, and we just won't do anything. Even if we know the corruption, like with Mr. Epstein.
That's the address for over 300,000 businesses.
Yes.
300,000 businesses are right here. This building right here, 300,000 businesses. Why is that? Because I'm in Wilmington, Delaware right now. And that building, this whole thing, that is the registered address through the registered agents. So many of the multi-billion-dollar corporations that you deal with every single day can get didn't use access for the Delaware tax loophole. Delaware tax loophole is a way that businesses can incorporate in Delaware without having a physical address at all. So they don't even have anybody here, but they pay this company over here $350 to be their agent.
That's a steal.
So what that means is that there is a person inside that building who will get the mail.
Wow.
Basically, if someone sues that company in the state of Delaware. And what does being a Delaware incorporated business get you? Well, it gets you not only less to no taxes, but it also means that you can then take your intangible assets, like, I don't know, your name, your franchise rights, and you can park them here in Delaware on paper.
So let me pause Mr. Pearl right here, because now that I ate my food, my mouth isn't full. This is where more and more that I research and find out, because I don't just spend all day crying and suffering at work, even though most of it is crying and suffering. I also spend some of the time trying to research tax codes, tax rules, retirement stuff, stock stuff, because I'm trying to somehow crawl my way out and claw my way out of the rat trap we're in, which seems ever and ever impossible. It's like when Batman in the hit movie Batman was fighting Bane, the live action one, and he got like sent to that prison in like the giant pit, and it's like, how the fuck was he supposed to climb out? I'm trying to be Batman right now. I'm trying to climb out, and you can help me climb out with me at twitch.tv/Tecnics channel. But anyway, this is where more and more I'm finding out how the rich do things, how they just either live forever off of their money and make more money like it's nothing, and kind of take advantage of stuff. Now, I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers, and if I did, I'd probably get taken out. But this is where the rich always either utilize something. Either they change the way it is in the government, or the government is set up to benefit them, or they use some sort of loophole that you really need to have friends in high places to even know and utilize. Where there's these rules that people just don't realize, especially when it comes to taxes. because we have so many tax codes that it's literally impossible for one person to know all of them. This is where there's specialized tax people for different things. But it's so confusing purposefully, I believe, because they don't want you to get these things. They try and make it as confusing as possible so a lot of people don't take advantage of it. Now, this is where the rich people know these things, and even if they don't, they just set up in their favor. And the biggest example of this is the Social Security tax. I think it's no secret that people know Social Security in the 2030s is going to become insolvent. This is where the main obvious thing, and we don't even know why this was implemented in the first place. Maybe we do, but I don't know yet if there is a reason. This is where Social Security tax had a cap of, I believe, about $143,000. So you're only going to pay, I believe, 6% in Social Security tax up to 143K, I think. After that, you pay nothing. Why is that in place? Why is there a cap on that? There's no cap on Medicare or Medicaid, whatever the fuck it's called. This is where Social Security would largely get solved if there was no cap on taxing the rich, and this is the thing that doesn't make sense that a lot of people already know. We're not taxing the rich, the people it would affect the least. Instead, we're taxing the poor, the people it affects the most. Who do you think it's going to matter to if you take 6% of their income? The guy worth, $10 billion or the guy worth $10? If you take 6% of the guy $10, granted it's not a lot, but that's still something. If you take 6% of the 10 billion, yeah, that's a huge shit ton, but they're not living any different lives. Granted, you can also argue the guy with $10 isn't even living a life, and you'd be right. But this is where Elon Musk, I believe the statistic is, hits the Social Security tax limit in about 20 seconds. In 20 seconds time, he no longer pays into Social Security. I guarantee you him alone would probably help the issue if he paid full taxes on it for the whole year for however much he makes. But for some reason, there's a cap on it, and I think the cap is to help the rich just save more money, as if they need more of it anyway. So that's kind of where it's at. A lot of loopholes, a lot of taking advantage of the system, and a lot of the system being rigged in their favor. And this is where a lot of people realize this now. This isn't classified information for the most part. This is not well known, but known enough to where I heard it. And this is where people just either they don't care or they can't change it because our Congress doesn't serve us. They serve, the lobbyists. So it's a rigged system. There's loopholes, and these big corporations who are in cahoots with the government in most instances are going to take advantage of it. And if they can't, they're going to make a way for them to do it through our government. So the system's rigged. The system's rigged. In fact, that may be the thumbnail, or the title for this video. The system is rigged, even though I think I already used that already in another episode title. But it's whatever. Let's keep watching. We're already how deep in? We're 13 minutes in, and we've gone through a minute 19. Oh my god.
Then you can take that same company that you've created and you can charge yourself an expense. So at the end of the day, a company that maybe makes hundreds of millions of dollars, when you get all the way down to their net operating income at the very bottom of the paper where they actually decide how much taxes they're going to pay.
And this is actually true. When I was learning about accounting, they basically take stuff as, expenses, and it lowers your taxable income. And regular people can do this too if they don't take the standard deduction. If you can itemize your deductions, which a lot of them are business expenses, which you could do, at least on the books way, if you just buy stuff for the company that depreciates over time. But these companies are so advanced, they have stuff where they probably do stuff I know they do stuff I don't even know about that manipulates the system, where I don't even think they need to buy shit. They can just take losses from stocks and stuff, which is crazy. I think the big billionaire companies pay very little taxes because of these things, and how does that make sense? It doesn't.
You're going to end up paying a lot less. And it only costs you $350 a year to register with these guys.
Amazing.
Now, how much money are we talking about? At the end of the day, this is costing the U.S. tax system $10 billion. $10 billion with a B. That looks like this.
Insane. And it's all from this tiny ass building that people know about.
$10 billion is taken out of the system for all of the goods and services that you and I use. Things
or that we don't use.
Like these roads.
Roads in New York do not get fixed, as I saw today, because there was lakes and puddles.
Things like water.
I had enough of that today.
Things like the military. Things like...
Okay, that's true. It doesn't go into the military. That one I just cannot front with.
Veteran services. Things like the education system.
Oh.
All of them, for $350 a business, can be almost completely wiped out.
Nice.
And then parked here in Delaware.
Amazing.
Donald Trump, his corporations, a lot of them are set up here.
Oh,
but
yes.
Don't worry, Joe Biden's are set up right there.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. It's everybody. It's the whole system.
Yeah, I was about to say it. The whole system is filthy.
That's the Delaware tax loophole.
Let me name it that. The whole system is filthy. I put flighty. Filthy. There we go. Hopefully today we're not going to check the average rent prices, but I don't know if I included any rent stuff or average income stuff. I probably did, but we'll see. But yeah, pretty good video. Obviously exposing a lot of stuff that, for the most part, because of the internet, is pretty much not well known again, but decently known and getting to be more well known. But nothing's changing. So what the fuck? Next.
The homelessness crisis in America is getting worse.
You want to know what's so funny? He says the homelessness crisis, and look at the image he puts up. You want to know where this is? This is in New York on the subway that just got flooded today. Craziness.
Attempts to fix it are not working, and we need to talk about why. And I say this as a...
This is where, you know what their attempts are to fix it? Okay, guys, the homeless bum is sleeping in the corner there. Why don't we spend taxpayer money? Instead of helping him, why don't we just put spikes on the ground where he sleeps usually? Oh, that'll solve the problem. Surely that'll solve the problem.
Reportedly, homelessness in the U.S. has reached now an all-time record high.
And again, I always say this as well. We are in the generation. Now, a lot of generations do not have this occur, at least to this extent. We are in the generation where so many things are breaking records. They're setting new records in our time. And these records aren't good records. There are some good ones, but most of them are not good. To where, how the fuck are we at this transition period where I believe things can either get very better or very worse in the future? But as of right now, things are just chaotic because we're transferring into kind of a new era, a new way of living. Because before this, we lived in a very uniform way. Nuclear family, technology wasn't really there. Technology messed up a lot of stuff. It helped a lot of things, but also messed up a lot of things with society. This is where now, excuse me, because of that, so many things are happening at record highs, and they're so bad. It's like, of course it had to be our time. Of course we have to be in the dark dimension. Fucking bullshit.
And according to that analysis, just this year so far, there's been a roughly 11% increase in people experiencing homelessness.
Bruh.
That is a massive jump. In fact, so massive that if the trend holds for the rest of the year, it would represent the single biggest increase since the government started tracking comparable numbers more than 15 years ago. Now, as far as...
Wow, they only started tracking it 15 years ago. I've been alive longer than they've started tracking this. You know what's crazy too? In one of my old jobs, I actually worked not with, but around people who used to work with the homeless. They're called shadow count. They pretend to be homeless. They go out and they count how many homeless people there are. Now, obviously, with a lot of things, and I don't think I've ever really said this, but with a lot of things the government gives us, either with statistics or with, I would honestly say mostly statistics, these are not accurate. More likely than not, they're lowballing it. Even for, inflation, especially for unemployment, and also for homelessness, they can't get accurate numbers of these things, so they always try and make it seem lower than it actually is as much as they can, because they don't want it to look bad. Even for unemployment, if you've been unemployed for 6 months, you're not considered unemployed anymore. Because, why would it take anyone 6 months or longer to find a job? You must not be trying. Yeah, fucking right. So if you're unemployed for more than 6 months, you're not counted on the unemployed list. You're not a statistic anymore. This is where for shadow count too, for the homeless population, they can't find every homeless person in the couple days that they do this thing. They have to approximate. Now granted, they might try and cover their asses and approximate a little bit higher, but I doubt it. And even if they do, it's still not accurate. it's still, I think, a lot lower. Because as we could see here, homelessness is going up a lot. And I've seen it personally. As I always say, the church I run by every day after work, the line gets longer and longer. Now, granted, now that we're heading into the colder weather of the fall/winter, whenever this fucking comes out, this is where the homeless line is getting shorter. Not because there's less homeless, but because they don't want to be in the fucking cold.
What is driving these historic increases? Advocates and government officials say the biggest factor is the same one that's been driving up homelessness for years: high housing costs.
There
the
it
cost
is.
of rent
Easy.
across the United States hit a record high last year, with Redfin finding that listed
another record high.
Rents for available apartments skyrocketed 15% from the year before nationally. And the same.
You know, it's ironic. I said I wasn't gonna look up average rent prices, and I'm not. But like, people cannot live. Minimum wage does not exist. It's not minimum wage. It's a slave wage.
Is true for housing prices, which also reached a record high last year. Please understand, this is not me exaggerating. This is not hyperbole. It is not me catastrophizing. The government.
It's real. See, so many creators have to say this, like, oh, we're not trying to cause panic. We're not trying to be depressing. Yeah, they're not trying. This is just how it is. It just is depressing.
An accountability office has estimated that an increase of just $100 in the median U.S. rent is connected to a 9% spike in homelessness. But as America continues to see this unprecedented crisis getting
worse, look at how sad
that
is, man. That's so sad. It's kind of funny though. She put glasses on the dog. That's a little funny.
We're also increasingly seeing homelessness policies fail time and time again.
Yeah, their policy of putting spikes where the homeless people sleep. That's their policy. Or making homeless shelters where they just funnel the money out and be corrupt, as they do a lot in New York City. Louis Rossman showed me proof of that. But anyway, this is where, and I've mentioned this before too, the other sad part about homelessness in New York City, you know, mainly, that's what I'm familiar with, but also around the world as well. One of the saddest parts about homelessness is how it's viewed by the rest of the world, or I guess by the people around it. It's viewed as, okay, that guy deserves it, or he did something wrong. They never blame society, they blame the person. And they're like, okay, if this guy tried harder, he could be unhomeless. This is where we're reaching a time where maybe that was the case more so in the past, even though some people literally can't do anything. Now we're getting into a point, like this commenter right here says, Nick Reed, late stage capitalism. We're getting to a point where a certain amount of people, no matter what they do, for the most part, even if they play their cards perfectly, what if there's just no position that pays a decent amount because they're all taken up? Either by AI or other people scraping by to live. Or they're just in a, unlucky location, unlucky time. Who knows, right? But this is where a certain amount of people just won't make it, and I feel like that percentage is going up.
And this even as millions and in some places billions of dollars are being funneled toward helping fix the problem.
Yeah, fix, quote unquote. Terrible. This image is so accurate of New York, though. Like, you always see, and I see it every day, bums sleeping on the train. And I feel bad for calling them bums. I want to call them homeless, but a lot of these people, even though I just spoke against the stereotype, they do use drugs and they aren't good people. But how can you blame them? Look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to live in a city where you need like 80K yearly to be like a human being. So they're trying to live with no money in a place you need a lot of money. They live shitty ass lives where people constantly shit on them. And they're just trying to survive. And then if they try and get help the right way through the state, through these sponsored like houses, there's rampant crime, there's rampant corruption, and a lot of the places are fucking shitholes. So what are they supposed to do? It's honestly sad because aside from doing drugs to cope with it, what the fuck else are they supposed to do? This is the dark dimension we're dealing with, people. Not a lot of people can handle the reality of it because a lot of people don't know because they misguide themselves. But I'm here to fix that. But anyway, pretty good video. Let's keep going. I want to not take forever on like 5 videos, but let's keep going.
The US is facing an absolute immigration nightmare right now.
This is understating it. And as always, who's getting the brunt of it? Who's getting the worst of it? At least in the media. I don't know if in actuality, but from what I hear in the media, which is mostly just what I know, or the extent of what I know, guess what? Surprise, surprise, it's New York!
Just a couple of days ago, the Daily Mail reported that the Biden administration had been quietly selling off parts of the border wall in efforts to prevent Republicans who want to force it to be extended. They say that since April this year, 81 steel square structural tubes, which would have been used within the wall's 30-foot panels, had been sold for a profit of $2 million. And then today, reports are coming out that the literal floodgates of the border wall had been welded open, allowing 1,400 migrants to enter the state of Arizona daily. For perspective,
and where do you think they're going? New York.
These 5 open doors are considered one gate. There are around 114 gates currently open. The Tucson border section has reportedly now become the busiest in the country, with the Border Patrol encountering more than 42,000 people trying to cross legally and illegally into the country in July alone. And when asked why they had been opened, Border Force said that it was for the annual monsoon season to prevent the border wall from being damaged from high water flow and debris. One migrant from Cuba said, "It was so easy to get into the US, nothing like our journey through Mexico. That part was hard." And
what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? You have the people saying it's easy to illegally get into the US, whereas other countries it's harder to get into. Like, is this real life? Or is this the dark dimension?
And what's crazy is that the Border Force initially said that the call to keep the gates open came from other federal agencies. But now they say that they were the ones who made the final decision to keep the gates open. The US is...
Amazing. Hopefully we'll go more into depth into this topic because there's a lot I could say about this, as with almost everything, obviously. But I think we have some videos down the line that are going to show what's happening in New York with all these migrants. So I did spoil a little bit of the future, but we should be fine. Let's go next.
Scientists now believe that they have actually found a gene which could help humans live longer. And
so this is where I wonder, did Jeff Bezos do this, or is this separate from him? Because I know he's trying to become immortal and make us work like, 20-hour work days.
Become more resistant to multiple types of cancer. But where they found this gene is random as hell.
It's gonna be from some random ass animal. If I had to guess, I would guess like a lobster or something, because I believe lobsters are biologically immortal.
A naked mole rat. Now, what they lack in good looks, they more than make up for in good health. Because based on their size in comparison to other similar animals, they should have a lifespan of around 6 years, but they don't. These bastards can live up to 41 years old.
That's insane. They already look like old shriveled ball sacks.
The females are fertile till they die. Also,
what? Humans stop being fertile, at least the females, stop being fertile at like 50 or some shit. What?
Like many other species, as they age, they do not often contract diseases like neurodegeneration, cardiovascular disease, arthritis, and most importantly, cancer.
Insane. I mean, granted, they're not exposed much to the sun's rays. They're mostly burrowers, so it makes sense, but...
Scientists believe that it may be due to a gene they have which produces large quantities of a substance that helps protect cells from damage, called hyaluronic acid. So to test this, in a new study, scientists transferred this gene to mice, and not only did it successfully extend their average lifespan...
Look at the fucking mouse!
...by nearly 5%, but their overall health...
Okay, 5% is not being immortal, like, come on. Like, at this point, I would say the average age for people in the future, if we actually had good health insurance, would probably be around like 80 to 100. I feel like that's the average, because people are living longer the more time goes on because of medical advancements, technology advancements. Even though it feels like we're not seeing it, they are there. So over time, people are living longer. So what's 5%? That's an extra 5 years. That's not much. I mean, it's something. 5 years doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're living to 100, it's really not that much.
Health improved, they had better gut health, less inflammation, and they became more resistant to cancer. According to the researchers, the new findings could open up possibilities for improving lifespan and reducing inflammation in humans. Who knew the savior of humanity was a peanut? Scientists...
This is crazy. I fully believe in the future, we're going to take certain genes from animals that are beneficial, we're going to combine it and splice it into our own DNA, and we're eventually going to make a race of super hybrid humans. Who knows when that's going to happen? I think there's a lot of ethical concerns with it. But I do feel like it's eventually on the horizon at some point. Maybe not in my lifetime, but in one of them, hopefully. But we'll see. Crazy ass stuff. Let's go next. You know what the main thing is? I can fully imagine if we extend life, guess what? I already talked about Social Security. So guess what we're gonna have to do? Work and be slaves for longer. Amazing. Let's go next.
This is wild. I don't think people are realizing the
A lot of Dylan Page today, damn.
significance of what Donald Trump just did last night. So yesterday at 9 p.m. on Fox News was the highly anticipated first Republican primary debate. And it's always massive because this is the first time leading up to the 2024 presidential election that the public get a real look at the candidates and how they perform under pressure.
Yeah, when they say how they perform under pressure, it's literally a mudslinging contest. And this is where I find it hilarious, in both a good and a bad way, that so many people watch this because it's so funny and it's so ridiculous. It's how well you can insult the other person. That's how you get ahead, or that's one of the main ways to get ahead in the US. Don't have better points than the other person. Speak better than them.
Donald Trump may be in the life of the party in the primary debates in 2016. This time, he made the controversial decision to skip the debate and instead reach out to Tucker Carlson, the former Fox show host, and do an interview with him on X, Twitter. What's crazier is that they literally set up as direct competition, deciding to post the interview at 8:55, 5 minutes before Fox News went live with their debates.
That is such a fucking cock move. You could see exactly why they did it. They are in direct competition against Fox. Now, this is where, you know, a lot of people might see this as like, yeah, fuck Fox, fuck Fox. This is where it's one giant fighting another. If a giant's winning, a giant's still winning. Like, these people are not like, you know, small mom and pop businesses. They're both big, gigantic, evil mega corporations. But Fox is more well known for being evil, but Twitter's probably pretty bad too.
At that point, it was no longer Trump versus his ops. It became a head-to-head match between cable news and social media. For perspective, the highest-rated primary debate that Fox has had is 24 million views. But in the first 4 minutes of posting on X, Trump's interview amassed a staggering 10.7 million views. And
that is insane.
14 hours later, at the time of recording this, it is over 200 million.
So it broke the records of TV. Another dying medium.
Think about this. Politicians and cable news for the longest time have been like that. And for people from one of the most traditional sectors we've got to be moving away from legacy media,
the old people especially,
towards new media is actually wild.
Yeah. This is where now it makes sense why we have all these subscription services where back in the day we only used to have one. They figured out TV is dying. Let's just make internet the second TV and make everything like, oh, our channel package. Oh, you want to see the Disney stuff? You can only get it with us. Oh, you want to see the Netflix stuff? You can only get it with them. And this is where it eventually is going to be like, you need so many different subscriptions to get what you want. It's going to basically be like having TV again. At least in cost, in terms of cost.
Honestly, we don't know whether the results will be positive or negative yet, but one thing is for sure. The way that
the internet's better.
That we are consuming information is changing. What happened last night was
Yeah, and you want to know how it's changing? It's changing in a way we've never seen before, and our generation is experiencing it the first wave.
Critical moment along the way. So the question is, do you think the changing way we're now getting our information is a good thing, or could it be dangerous?
I think it's overall a good thing. I'm not going to go into this topic because this is going to be forever, and I want to get to more videos, but I think overall it's a pretty good thing, actually. Excuse me. Again, despite our indifference, despite Americans just taking it up the bum, I think just the fact that the information is so disseminated and so widely available and accessible is a very, very good thing. The internet has a lot of negatives, but a lot of positives too. Anyway, let's go next.
Yo, the Pope is popping off about America.
Yeah, the Pope. I believe that's Mr. Francis.
With him saying, quote, the situation in the United States is not easy. And
yeah, that's an understatement, but thank you, Pope. Someone gets it.
Adding that conservative Catholics are very reactionary and backwards, and that the LGBTQ are welcome to the church and they must accept this.
So this is where I don't understand fully religion because I'm not religious. Surprise, surprise. This is where, as far as I remember, Christianity was not happy about homosexuals. They did not like that shit. And now for it to change, I honestly question if the Pope is doing this because religion is dying. Does he even have the power to do this? Or is he doing it because times have changed and, again, he's allowed to kind of change what the rules are? I think this is, in some ways, A ploy, or not a ploy. This is in some ways a concession to try and get more people into the church because the church is on a big decline.
And he finished his remarks with, those American groups of which you speak, so closed, are isolating themselves, and saying instead of living by doctrine, by the true doctrine that always develops and bears fruit, they live by ideologies. But also, as long as I can remember, the American Catholic Church has been beefing with the Pope. Whether it's Eastern Catholics, like I used to be, think the church isn't liberal enough, or Southern Catholics think the church isn't cruel enough. So I don't see this changing anytime soon, but follow to stay in the loop.
You know what's ironic too? In my job, we literally are suing the church. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but in my law firm, we're doing a huge lawsuit against the Catholic Church, ironically enough, to where they're touching too many kids. And this is where, it's a big stereotype, but a lot of stereotypes are, kind of born from some sort of truth. This is where the stereotype about churches touching children, priests touching children, oh, it gets a lot worse than just touching, I'll tell you that. But it's actually insane how much we're trying to sue them for. And I don't know if they have the hope or the help of the Vatican, but we are suing them really, really badly. And it's not just us, it's a lot of law firms too. But they're getting sued really badly for all the abuse that, the people under them did. And it's like, bro, they are dying hard. They're getting beaten into the ground. They filed for bankruptcy.
The Pope is popping off.
Anyway, nice video. Let's go next.
First ever alien object has been publicly announced. The Harvard physicist that led the team that discovered the materials claims they came from an alien craft that was about a meter in size. Scientists found it on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. About 700 metallic spherical objects were found, and they contain alloys only found in interstellar space. The elemental abundance pattern does not match Earth alloys, fallout from nuclear explosions, magma ocean abundances of Earth, or the Moon, or Mars, or other natural meteorites in the solar system. However, not everyone agrees with the Harvard professor. One other professor at Arizona State University said that he's tired of hearing of the Harvard professor's wild claims.
This is where, for my kind of just stance on all this alien shit, I feel like aliens are out there, and they're either so far away that we'll never see them in our lifetime, or they're so advanced that they're just watching us and playing with us and we don't even realize it. Either way, it's not going to change much, and I think more often than not, a lot of people don't really give a shit. The only people who really give a shit are kind of not struggling in life because they can give a shit on other things. I think a lot of people are just like, yo, man, can we just get paid more money? Fuck the aliens. But anyway, this is pretty cool, I guess. It's alright. Let's go next.
So maybe someone here on TikTok can answer this question for me, because
maybe I can.
I cannot figure it out,
So I'm gonna just say it here again. The sad part is, and I'm not trying to put anyone down, people could definitely express their opinion, but remember what I said and what was said before in another video. All we're gonna do is go on TikTok, complain, cry about it, and then go back to it. It's like no real change is happening, and that's what I think is about to happen here.
I am so frustrated.
I am too.
Why
I'm exhausted.
Is it that
and what?
I have to work 40 hours a week.
You know what's sad? When people say, I have to work 40 hours, a lot of people, both young and old, have this mentality of, oh, well, I suffer more, so you have to suffer more, or you shouldn't complain. Listen, at the end of the day, even if you suffer more, which is sad, why do you want to perpetuate suffering? And I know why. It's because they feel wronged, which, I fully understand. But this is where, why do you want to perpetuate suffering? And number two, just because we're doing less doesn't mean that's a bad thing, especially with my whole productivity speech about how things have gotten more productive, but we're earning less money. But this is where, right, even though, despite things getting more productive, even though things are better than they used to be, even with the production, they're still not in a acceptable point. 40 hours is better than the slave weight, or, the slave hours our ancestors did. And by ancestors, I mean our parents, grandparents, and stuff. This is where now we have to take 2 jobs anyway, so we're basically working the same amount of time they used to, just in 2 different places now. But this is where, even though it's better, it's still not good enough. It's so stupid.
Just so I can have a place to live.
Yeah, you need to pay to live. What a crazy idea, right?
40 hours a week makes me $2,000 a month.
She's actually around minimum wage if that's the case. Because minimum wage makes you, at least in New York, $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, makes you about $2,300. After taxes, that's like $2,000. if not 1,900. So she might be making slightly more than minimum, but she's around minimum.
And my rent is $1,660.
Yeah, that's good ass rent. And it's sad because it's not. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's another example of what I just said. 1660 is better than what's around now, which is like, 2,000 plus. But it's still not good or not acceptable. Just because it's not as bad doesn't mean it's good.
So I work 40 hours a week so I can have a 2-bedroom apartment.
Well, that was her mistake. She
an extra
has $300
a month. Like, it doesn't cover my phone,
wow.
internet, food, So not only do I
starve.
not have any extra money, but
with most Americans,
just working makes me so exhausted that I don't have time either.
I feel the same exact way.
Like, I get off work at 5:30.
I'm close to that.
Come home and I'm just so tired.
Same with me. I don't know how I'm even recording this right now.
I'm so tired that, like, anything that I need to do outside of work,
I
then just push off to, like, the weekend. And I'm like, I'm just too tired to do this after work. Yeah. I'll wait until Saturday. So then I end up with so much to do on the weekend that ends up having to be split into 2 days.
Amazing.
So I have to do stuff on both Saturday and Sunday.
Where I draw the line.
So then I don't get a day off. I don't get a day to relax.
You know what's sad? If she's salaried, if you're a salaried employee, you don't get overtime. So that work she's doing, it's the same work as what she's normally doing, not compensated, at least fairly.
I don't get to decompress. So it is really like working 7 days a week, constantly. And I don't want to do that anymore.
A lot of us don't, but we have no choice.
Right? Like,
let me put that as the title. We don't want to do this anymore, but we have no choice, which is depressing.
I don't care how poor and miserable I would have to be, but I literally can't have a place to live without this, Like,
imagine thinking you're allowed, or not allowed, you're supposed to have a place over your head to live. In our society, advanced as it is, imagine thinking that. Imagine how stupid you must be.
I don't know what to do. I'm not made for this.
Me neither. The same way this lady feels is the same way I feel. And also, I just know she has like Pokemon things in the background. Holy shit. But anyway, this is where I feel exactly how she feels. And the sad part is it's like, I don't see it changing.
Have the money, time, or energy to enjoy my life outside of work.
And the sad part is a lot of people hate their job, me included, to where their job is something they don't want to do, but they just need money.
And I don't know what to do about it anymore,
Jesus.
I'm so tired.
I'm so sad for her. And a lot of what she said, it just mirrors back to me. It's so depressing. But anyway, very nice video giving us a little dose of reality of, these are some of the people affected. Granted, I know I'm putting in a small sample size, sure. But I do feel like it's indicative of more and more people nowadays. Let's keep going.
So,
like many young adults, I used to enjoy my life.
Yeah, me too.
That is until I discovered worrying about the future.
Yes.
Now I have stopped living in the present and I started living in my head instead. I am a
I do that all the time.
Warrior, not a warrior. Scandalo. They say worrying is bad for you. I disagree. I think it works because 99% of the things I'm worried about never happen.
And that is so fucking true. It's insane.
If you start worrying about the future today, you can also get
always feeling like you're behind.
I always feel like that too.
Overthinking and depression. Missing out on the present.
And if you upgrade to the premium plan,
dwelling on the past.
Always.
All of this for free $99. So what are you waiting for? Start worrying about the future and let your life pass you by today.
Oh my god. So this guy's obviously crazy, but he's crazy not in a bad way. He's definitely telling the truth about all these things. But yeah, this is just sad, man. This shit's really just sad. It's true, but that's why it's sad. Anyway, let's keep going.
The BRICS Summit starts tomorrow.
Oh.
So what does that mean? First of all,
so again, BRICS Summit starting tomorrow. This is way outdated. Because this came out at 8/21. We're way past that.
nothing special. They've done this every year for the last 15 years, but for some reason, people on the internet are very interested in this particular meeting.
And this is where, I didn't know this, BRICS was apparently around for a long time, relatively from what we know it. And this is where, like, I don't understand how they've been like this for this long. It's actually crazy.
As I said, the summit starts tomorrow and runs through Thursday in South Africa. All the leaders of the BRICS member nations will be present except for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who
I wonder why.
cannot travel out of the country because there is a
He's a war criminal.
warrant out for his arrest.
Lol.
So for those of you who don't know, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. BRICS has evolved over the years into a cooperative, informal group of countries, like an alternative to the G7, which is the group of Western countries that the United States is a part of.
So you know what's crazy? As she just said, G7 is Western, BRICS is like Eastern. This kind of sounds like something from, again, 100 years ago, doesn't it?
Now, if you want more backstory on how all this BRICS stuff started, I have a full
100 years ago with characters lore in Overwatch 2. Just to, not Overwatch 2, what am I saying? That's how you know I'm fucking tired of shit. Yeah, what the hell did I just say? I just said the biggest bullshit. I'm thinking of Overwatch 2 because that's shitty too. 100 years ago in the real world, not Overwatch 2, in the real world, this is also what happens. Allies versus, I forgot what the other side was, but we were the allies and we won, so you don't need to remember the old side.
Full deep dive video on this topic. I posted it back in April. But back to this video. Perhaps the biggest function of BRICS that people talk about is the BRICS currency. You should understand, it doesn't exist. In the last few years, BRICS leaders have been talking about possibly creating a currency among the member nations. But as of today,
and even if they do, good luck deposing the dollar. I mean, this is where the dollar's probably going to depose itself. And then maybe they'll come back in to like swoop in and fill the void. But as it stands, I don't think anything can challenge the dollar.
At
least seriously.
It's not a thing. And even if they could possibly get one off the ground, it would only be valid in the BRICS member nations, and even that would probably take some time to really take hold.
Wow.
So why do they want their own currency? Well, that's mainly political. The majority of international trade is conducted in US dollars. In fact, the US dollar has been the backbone of the world economy and the official reserve currency since 1944, and with that comes a lot of influence by the United States, which these nations do not think is fair. They don't like playing by US rules.
Amazing.
I think where
Who
people
does?
get confused in all of this is BRICS doesn't have money, but it does have its own bank, which is very real. In 2015, the BRICS nations launched the New Development Bank as an alternative to the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, which the United States is the largest shareholder of.
Of course.
BRICS nations also set up a mechanism to support member nations struggling with payments. But those banking and funding mechanisms are not only attractive to BRICS nations, but they're open to other developing and emerging economies that have had trouble dealing with the IMF and the World Bank in the past because those banks have policy conditions attached to their loans.
Wow.
Because BRICS nations are not part of the Western world, not part of the European Union, and not part of the G7, they talk a lot about expansion and adding new countries to their cooperative.
They want to get all the players of the game first.
Including Saudi Arabia, Iran, the UAE, Argentina, Indonesia, Egypt, and Ethiopia have all expressed interest in joining BRICS. Now let me clear some misinformation up. France does not want to be a member nation of BRICS.
Crazy.
The president of France, however, did ask to attend this BRICS summit
Macron?
to further diplomatic relations, which he is really known for. Vladimir Putin, by the way, shut that down, is not allowing him to come. As for this BRICS summit, we are expecting the member nations will be talking about lots of things, including the potential for expansion to other nations, how to...
It really is like a dodgeball game where like we're trying our hardest, both sides are trying their hardest to just pick all the kids left so the other side doesn't get the best people. It's hilarious.
Further lend money to other emerging economies and countries through their BRICS bank, and how they can cooperate with each other economically, especially since two of the founding members, Russia and China, are heavily sanctioned right now by the United States.
This is where we're kind of forcing them to work with each other. It's like, okay, you can't work with us now. You know, what's the alternative? Who's going to be your fucking project buddy? The person right next to you.
We will have to wait.
Who's also getting bullied by the big bully New York.
See if there is any more talk about a possible currency.
Crazy. Well, there's talk about something else that's happening literally yesterday or today, even though today's right now Saturday. That happened yesterday with the government shutdown, but again, we'll get to that in the future. Anyway, pretty nice video. Let's keep going.
China is having an absolute meltdown over Japan. Japan released...
This is where I've heard so many things on TikTok where, again, I always say this, don't believe the first thing you hear, do your own research. But a lot of people won't even listen to that. But this is where... let me hear the beginning again just to make sure I can organize my thoughts here.
China is having an absolute meltdown over Japan.
Yeah, here we go. So I feel like I'm always hearing something bad about China, but somehow China isn't collapsing in on itself, which I don't understand how. Everything I hear, and this is again from the biased media, everything I hear about China is just like going wrong.
These treated water from Fukushima into the ocean with the approval of the IAEA, with many scientists agreeing that it will have a negligible impact on the environment, with this being a process that'll take 30 years as they slowly release it.
Wow.
But China is acting like Japan unleashed a toxic plague into Asia.
This is where China's reactions to a lot of things are just really over the top and stuff.
His Wolf Warrior artist releasing this image depicting Japan. Right, first, China calling them selfish and irresponsible. And now China says it's blocked all seafood imports from Japan despite all testing of the water and fish, showing it to be very safe, which is why Japan is now taking China to the WTO over the seafood ban. And a key thing...
Wow. And this is where the Japanese really do love their seafood.
Here, scientists have pointed out that China actually releases untreated water from its nuclear plants every day that is actually more radioactive than what Japan is releasing. But that still hasn't stopped Chinese citizens from harassing Japanese businesses and schools with phone calls and throwing rocks at their embassy in China.
See, you know what's so fucked up? And I've said this before too. I think it's the ruling government that's to blame, not the people in it. The people in it either are idiots, they have no choice, they don't know any better, they can't fight the system, or, some other reason. But people get angry at the people, not the people in power. And it's so crazy to me. I mean, granted, how can you not get angry at the guy you're seeing right in the face? But still.
So you've got Japan asking China to tell its citizens to chill the fuck out. China saying it has no idea what Japan's talking about.
I fucking hate China saying this bullshit.
And as far as Japan's other neighbors, South Korea said that if Japan is following the regulations and doing it safely, then who cares?
That's where I'm at.
Taiwan and the Philippines basically said whatever. But in
Hey, the Philippines.
Hong Kong, they declared Japan an enemy of the whole world.
Jesus. I thought Hong Kong was like chummy with us, because I know they were surrounded. But I thought they eventually cleared it out, but I guess not. Huh.
To stay in the loop.
Anyway, very nice video. We gotta start rapid firing these shits because I want to get through a lot. Anyway, let's go next. Very nice.
The senator in charge of Republicans in the Senate,
the fucking Grim Turtle Reaper,
froze while taking questions from reporters just a couple moments ago. This is the second time he's frozen in public.
Crazy. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned it this episode, but definitely in a previous episode I mentioned, like, seeing these clips of how stupid our government is, how stupid and how old. And this one isn't too great. It's, the Reaper of the U.S. economy, or not economy, the Reaper of the U.S. Senate or Congress, or whichever one he's in. And look at this guy. He's so old.
He is 81 years old.
Jesus.
Senator, you're up for election in 3 short years. What are your thoughts on it?
The gears aren't turning. He's using too much power.
Sorry, I had a hard time hearing you.
That's okay. What are your thoughts on running for re-election in 2026?
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
He's thinking. He has mean bags under his ass. I'm about to look like him in the future.
Did you hear the question, Senator?
Thinking.
Running for re-election in 2026?
He said yes.
All right,
You
I'm
could
sorry,
tell he's
you already need a minute?
struggling. That's so fucked. Man, I've said it before, and I guess, again, most of the series is me repeating myself. I'll say it again. Our government is run by dinos who can't even turn on a computer. And again, there is knowledge that's highly specialized. I work with lawyers who don't know how to turn on a computer either, but they're very competent people. They're competent lawyers. But, like, bro, I think at this age, if you're having trouble with this, I don't think you're that competent anymore. At least not for the people. Maybe for yourself, but that's easy to do. Anyway, let's go next.
Greetings, you oily, entitled code monkeys. I hope you're enjoying working remotely from your 5-bedroom Midwestern mansions with Bay Area salaries, because those days are coming to an end.
No.
That's right, return to office, here we come. Time to sell the house. You're probably wondering why I want you back. And the answer is, I cannot see you suffering when you're on mute with your camera off.
This is honestly, I feel, even though it's a joke, it's so accurate.
I want to see the look on your face when you open an Excel spreadsheet as your dreams pass you by.
Sad.
A lot of you are asking what data I have to make this decision. Well, here's some data. I can fire you. 100% chance.
That's all the data they need.
So I'll see you next week in the office.
Wow. Anyway, I obviously include this for comedic purposes, even though there is some stuff to learn about it and from it. This is where jobs really do not give a fuck about you. Most jobs. Not saying in absolutes where it's every job, but definitely most jobs, like, they really don't give a fuck. Literally today, I told you guys I had the great, like, Noah's Ark flood that happened. Everyone was let off, not even for the whole day, like, after half the day was done, everyone was let off except for me, because I'm the male person. And I was just like, bro, what the fuck? These CEOs do not care, and this is going into a bigger thing in society now. After September, I don't remember if it was a specific day in September, but it definitely started in September, which at the time of recording is, it still is. This is where, fuck, what was it? Yeah, this is where, all the work from home stuff is basically getting dissolved, and all these CEOs who are saying, or who said previously, like, oh, work from home is amazing, a lot of research, supports it, which is still the case, but now they're switching up and saying, oh, but there's reports and stuff that show it doesn't help as much, even though the report links to, like, something that no one ever knows because they hide it in the reports. This is where they're doubling back now, switching up and saying, nah, you have to come back, like, in person, which I definitely feel is just a way of control. Granted, it's not always evil. Some people only work well from working in office, but a lot of people don't, especially me. This is where I need my nice little alone time and my tranquility, my ability to record these TikToks. But anyway, yeah, this is pretty accurate. So let's go next.
I've tried so hard to be a serious artist, and no one listens to my music, no one cared. Then we filmed these Vines.
This is literally me.
And the first one got posted, and it got like maybe 1 or 2 million in the first couple days.
Damn.
And I was like, what the hell is going on here?
You get it when you least expect it, and the only time you like don't get it is if you give up. Which is why I'm never giving up.
My whole life making art, nobody cares. And somehow now, I didn't even have to try, I just show up looking silly, and
I really hope that's me one day.
That's what people want to see.
And all of a sudden, it started working.
Yeah, the bowl cut was the haircut I had. My whole life growing up, I was too scared to get any other haircut.
That's so sad.
The ski jacket I stole from my mom.
Wow.
The glasses were like the glasses I would wear as a kid that made me feel cool. The Jinko jeans were like the pants that I always wanted. I pulled all that together, and my friend looked right through me. He didn't even know it was me. And then he was like, no way, we gotta go film some Vines. It was like back in the Vine era. And this is
there's gonna be so many new people who don't know what Vine is, and that's so sad.
After I'd already gone through like failed record career, failed like so much stuff that I've tried so hard to be a
So this is where he does say some good bit at the end where don't be afraid to fail. In fact, love failure because failure means you're learning. You can't go through stuff and not make mistakes. It's impossible. So, go through life knowing you'll make mistakes and just try to learn from them because you're gonna make mistakes and mistakes actually help you. But yeah, Oliver Tree is a pretty interesting dude. Obviously, as we've seen, you only need one lucky break, just one of anything, which is kind of what I'm hoping on. But we'll see. But yeah, no, Oliver Tree is pretty cool. But I just kind of put this one in just to remind people that's kind of how I am, suffering. Anyway, let's go next.
What happened during the Tennessee House of Representatives special session should concern you.
No way.
One little Glock against an AR-15.
Representative Jones, that's not the bill that's before you, sir. You're out of order.
So we've seen Representative Jones before. This is where he's part of, I would say, maybe not, I don't know his age, but he's definitely part of, if not near my generation, which I always say might be the generation, if not to break the mold, to at least start the snowball to break the mold. Like, it's actually insane.
We need to pay our teachers better. We don't need more police in our schools.
Representative Jones, you're off the bill again, sir. You're out of order.
Look, he's out of order. As if pounding that gavel's gonna do anything.
Out of order today.
Aye, 70, 20 nays.
Department of Safety, please clear the balcony for disorderly behavior.
Yeah, look, the people are saying something. The people are voicing their opinion, which is who you serve. Oh, get them out of here. We gotta jail them. Well, maybe not jail them, but give them a write-up.
This special legislative session was initially brought to improve public safety in the wake of a deadly elementary school shooting. Instead, it led to fascism chaos. The day after they unjustly silenced Representative Jones, I kid you not, they started speaking like auctioneers. talking so fast as to not allow understanding of what was being discussed or allow time to object.
It's all about control and lack of information.
These clips were not sped up.
Also, these comments on the right look so fake.
Welcome and honoring Representative Williams. Next order's been called. Any objection? Without objection, so order.
Look at that. Look at that bullshit. What was that? Oh, is there any objection? Okay, no objection, so order. Like, they don't even wait. It's so obvious what they're doing.
It's too late. Next order, Mr.
Yeah, look, it's too late. Like, look at this bullshit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With all resolutions properly filed, be introduced pursuant to Rule Number 17 and placed on the consent calendar, refer to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With all Senate joint resolution congratulatory and memorializing allowing that has to be placed on the consent calendar pursuant to Rule Number 17.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Crazy.
Can I object to specific items that are on the consent calendar now?
That's where we are currently on consent calendar, is recognition, not to object.
Mr. Speaker, what are we doing?
She's like, what the hell's going on?
You and the leader to try to get a sense of what we're going to do today so that we can all work together.
Oh, no. Working together? Out of the question.
Since as we try to move forward.
When is the appropriate time for me to make a motion of no confidence in Cameron Sexton as the Speaker of the House? I believe that the people of Tennessee deserve to hear this vote, take the vote of no confidence, and stand on your leadership.
And as I stated before,
Crazy.
the appropriate time for the representative's motion would be under unfinished business.
I hereby declare the first extraordinary session of the House of Representatives of the 113th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, sine die.
We must continue to speak out, show up, be visible, and
This is where I don't think we can really do this, what she's saying anymore, unless we affect the vote. If we affect their ability to rerun for office, I think that's what's going to hurt them. And that's a little spoiler for hopefully what I send myself later in the future about how Warren Buffett will fix the economy. I don't think I sent it to myself, but I might have, so we'll see.
And vote. This is fascism, plain and simple.
Wow.
And we have to fight back.
Damn. Vote them out, baby. Crazy, but true. Like, look at how corrupt our government is. Like, bruh, this is finally a new age guy who has some, like, power, can ask the right questions, and they just do it so fast. It's obviously what they're doing. Like, it's very obvious to any human being, but they just don't get punished. It's so crazy. Anyway, let's go next.
This is actually wild. It has just been revealed that the owner of OnlyFans paid himself a staggering $1.3 million per day.
Damn, a lot of small loans.
In 2022. And because he is still the sole shareholder of the entire company, over the last 3 years, he has paid himself close to $1 billion. OnlyFans itself, which has just 53 employees, made a whopping $1.1 billion in revenue, which hypothetically, if equally split, works out at more than $20 million per employee. The amount of money people spend on OnlyFans.
And think about that. This is where I think I've said this before. The amount of money these people have when it gets to the billions, look at like how long we were able to afford this. Look at this, ready? 20 million per employee based on, you know, the records and facts we have here, or at least that we know. This is where it's fucking insane that you could give people that much money and still probably like have more left out, like left after. It's crazy. 20 million per person would be insane. It also wrecked the economy too, but...
Employee. The amount of money people spent on OnlyFans in 2022 was, you ready for this? $5.6 billion. And because creators get to keep 80% of money spent by subscribers, that means OnlyFans creators as a whole got paid $4.4 billion in a year alone.
Well, OnlyFans, you know, people might make fun of it, but it is a way of living, if nothing else. Let's see what's next. So we have Adam Conover. So, I'll put another little spoiler here. There actually has, at the time of recording this, been a proposed resolution. Proposed resolution to the writer's strike. Who knows if it's going to work, but seems there's things that seem to be making progress. So, hopefully, by the time we actually get to reacting to it, I mean, by the time you guys get, it's going to be way, way after. But by the time we get to reacting to it, hopefully it'll be like everything cleaned up and hopefully plain English, plain King's English.
Been on strike for more than 100 days for
But until then, let's see how the strike is going.
fair wages and residuals in streaming and protections from AI. The studios leaked a counteroffer to the press. Now this
Like, I feel like what they're asking for is not bad. It's just common human decency.
offer was in no way sufficient. It's full of loopholes and it leaves tons of writers behind. But the studios told the press that they did it because they hoped membership would think the deal was so good, they would tell our leadership to cave and accept it.
That's insane. I think this goes also just, further to the fact of how to be a good leader. This is where, what are they looking to do? Instead of improve things, they're just trying to like milk things, right? Those are not good leaders. As a good leader, you shouldn't be trying to like punish people and trying to like tell them like, oh, you have to do this because of this. No, you should incentivize them. Yeah, let's keep going.
Well, you know how writers actually responded? Our picket lines are still packed, and writers
Crazy.
are still out here demanding more. Because here's what the studios didn't realize. The only reason we're out here is because the membership demands a fair deal and will not be satisfied until we get one. We've been on strike for over 100 days. We have shut down production in Hollywood. We have the actors behind us demanding the exact same thing. We have immense power.
This is where maybe I'm, maybe it's not there yet, but I feel like we're losing that immense power, but we still definitely do have it in certain ways.
And we are not going to leave.
But the main way to make change is mess with the money and hope you don't die.
These picket lines until the studios come to the table and make a deal that actually protects every writer and leaves no one behind. And until they do that, there will be no writing.
Let's go, no writing. Very cool. So, as we can see, at least on the 28th of last month, the writing thing was still going strong. Let's keep her going.
Is anybody really surprised by this? This year, Apple's being forced to release their first USB-C iPhone when the iPhone 15 launched.
Oh, I remember this. This again goes into monopolistic practices and how, even though Apple is learning to sort of bend the knee a little bit, they're really not bending it that much. It's so crazy.
The EU told them they have to do it, and they're expected to just include it worldwide. But they're going to do it in the most Apple way possible. Reports are showing that they'll have special MFI cables, or made for iPhone, and if you use a USB-C cable that's not MFI, then too bad, slow speeds and slow charging for you. The worst part is that they're not even going to make their phones faster. The iPhone...
This is the nail in the coffin. It's like, bro, this is so Apple.
15 is expected to have the same USB 2.0 speed that the Lightning phones have. Apple's being petty and
crazy,
ridiculous, but is anybody really surprised by this?
No. No, I'm really not. I'm surprised less and less as time goes on. But anyway, pretty good video. Pretty good video.
This year, Apple...
Is that Nick Cage? Jesus Christ. Yeah, Apple... This is where I feel like Apple is only known for their iPhones and their MacBooks. And, they re-release, like, different versions every year or so to, like, go on the next gimmick. But, overall, I think that the fact that Apple, I feel like, doesn't do much, and when they do stuff, it's like not really attributed to them, or it shouldn't be attributed to them, even though it is. This is where I feel like you just, it's obvious. It's obvious that these companies do shady shit, illegal shit behind like closed doors, just so they can remain at the top because everyone does it, and that's how you succeed. But Apple is the most valued company in the world. I'm almost positive they do very bad stuff. And again, back in the day, there was a lot of suicides in China from like working plants that work on, the iPhone, ironically enough. And this is where, instead of solving the issues, it's kind of what they do with the homelessness. Oh, when they jump off, make sure they land in a net. Oh, so not ask why they jumped off, not try and help them from not doing it again. No, like, they saved her, that's it. That's as much as they did. It's so fucking stupid.
Apple's being forced to...
We already saw shit. That's how tired I am. Next.
$100,000 is the amount of money...
Okay. I'm gonna be honest, this shit's 4 minutes. I don't think I can watch this. Let's see how far we've gone, because I want to keep these decently short for my own sanity and everyone else's. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, more than I thought. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Damn, we went through a lot. 15, hopefully. 16, 17. And I believe we were right here.
100,000.
Yep, we were right here. Okay. So, we made barely any progress even after an hour and change. I'm not going to go for 2 hours today. I'm too busy and too tired. But, this is where, as I said in the beginning, it's going to take longer and longer to get through these. But, that shouldn't deter people from sending me any Dark Dimension TikToks y'all may have that show the Dark Dimension to my main account, Tecnics. And then if it's good enough, I'll DM it to this account. But anyway, it's going to be pretty much for me. Like I said, this is a big advertisement for my Twitch channel, Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. Hopefully people go over there and chill. even though I usually stream at night, but we'll see. But anyway, that's going to be it for episode 35. I'm going to try and figure out what to name this nonsense, and I'll see everyone in about a week, at least on your end too, but on a massive delay. Anyway, that's it. Hope everyone enjoyed. Eee!